This guy's very, he's cringe. All right, we're just gonna let's just jump into it. Oh, wait, you know what? I didn't unmute the tab.
Hey guys, it's been a while since
Never mind. It's all, he just took a while to start talking. Okay. Also, like, his editing is very, he's still going for that Trump win. No! Oh, no, come on. At some point, you have to give it up. Ban it. Ban the bot.
Hey guys, it's been a while since I made a video, and I know that, but I am coming back, and I do have some videos in the work, but this is just so infuriating to me that
I'm so mad. Trump is still... Oh, wait, you know what? Before we like get really deep into it, let me change that stream name. But the bot is kind of cute. Sorry. Don't want him. No robots here. All right. Yeah, this guy's so... it's honestly kind of sad. Like, can you imagine simping for a politician as hard as Trump people do? I mean, honestly, for a second. Like, imagine having such a parasocial relationship with a politician. A politician that doesn't care about you, by the way. Imagine being so parasocial with a... No, it's fine, Beastie-Mon. It was all jokes. Being so parasocial with a politician that doesn't care about you, that you have to take time off of making YouTube content because you're very upset that there's no legal route to stealing an election. Crazy. It's just fucking wild.
I feel like I absolutely have to talk about it. And that is that the FBI is now investigating the Proud Boys. They're
good. Let's read this for a second. Oh, 1 second. Let me is the top of it going to show? Okay. FBI is investigating this as a hate crime. Burning of this man wasn't about race, religion, or political ideology. Fucking Parler. Parler, where content creators go to fucking die. FBI is currently investigating this a supposed hate crime perpetuated by the PBs. They're even offering a reward. I'm here to tell you that there was no hate crime committed. The only hate there is in my heart. The only hate there is in my heart is for communism. What a fucking shitty, fucking hateful and illiterate. You can't be both. You can't be both. And an authoritarian government. BLM is a Marxist movement. It isn't about the color of someone's skin. BLM, hey guys, by the way, has nothing to do with Marx. Literally nothing to do with Marx. Against the wishes of my attorney, I am here today to admit that I am the person responsible for the burning of this sign. And I'm not ashamed of what I did because I didn't do it out of hate. I did it out of love. Love for a country that has given my family so much. I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed of what I did because because I didn't. Oh, 1 sec. Oh shit! I fucking jumped back. The burning of this banner wasn't about race, religion, or political ideology. It was about a racist movement that has terrorized the citizens of this country. I want you guys to imagine for a second this paragraph that I'm reading right here, read by a 1940s or 1950s evangelical pastor. Sorry, I'm choking on my own spit because fucking funny as fuck. Against the wishes of my attorney, I am here today to admit that I'm the person responsible for burning of this sign, and I'm not ashamed of what I did because I didn't do it out of hate. No, I did it out of love. Love for a country that has given my family so much. This is some real fucking plantation owner shit, okay? The burning of this banner wasn't about race, religion, or political ideology. It was about a racist movement that has terrorized the citizens of this country. I will not stand by and watch them burn another city. Hey, by the way, guys, no cities have been burned to the ground. No cities have been burned to the ground. Fucking imagine that. A couple of, in the cities where riots have happened, there has been some property damage. I don't think that that's a controversial opinion. But as an entire city, can anyone name me one city that has been burned to the ground? Or even had more than 1% of its buildings, even 1% of their buildings, set on fire? No one can, because that's not something that's happened. I mean, 94% of all of the BLM protests were peaceful protests with no violence whatsoever. Yeah, no, look at Andy No's Twitter. Antifa, 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 Antifa. They're burning the cities to the ground. True. I mean, but here's the thing. So let me make this simple. I did it. Come at me if you feel like what I did was wrong. We'll let the public decide. Forever proud, Enrique. Oh man, if he like admits to this and then goes to jail, what a fucking meme. It should be so fucking funny.
They're currently investigating a supposed hate crime perpetrated by the Proud Boys. They're even offering a reward for some reason. This is...
I give the people what they want. So, oh, okay. Well, good on him. He's just like a person that like hangs around right-wing people on Twitch. People setting buildings on fire, police reports too. Yeah, and like that's something that we can like see, acknowledge, and say that like, man, people shouldn't be setting buildings on fire. But we can also say, I understand why all of this has happened. There's a difference between endorsing it and saying, I understand why it's happening, and here's what we can do to make sure that this doesn't happen in the future. Because this is a cycle of violence, of protests, of violence in general that is cyclical, because there are underlying issues that have not been addressed by our government based off of what our government and our society has done to African American communities and other communities of color throughout our entire history. So like it's an understandable argument, or sorry, red chat, an understandable type of thing, not something that we should endorse necessarily, but something that we can understand. But we can also understand the scale of it and not say that they're burning cities to the ground. How fucking cringe and stupid. Come on. So let's rewind about 5 seconds and see what they have to say. You can't understand it? So here's the thing. People were saying the exact same things that people are talking about now. You know, they're burning cities to the ground. How dare they? In the 60s, during the civil rights movement. That's something that actually happened. You can look at political cartoons from that time where they're making fun of Dr. Martin Luther King for saying, well, the protest started off peaceful, right? And then there's like buildings burning in the background and the blacks are burning down our cities, right? It's the same thing, right? And Martin Luther King himself said, a riot is the language of the unheard. I understand why people feel the way that they do and why they're doing the things that they are. I don't think that they should be doing it, but it's understandable, right? And we need to alleviate the things that have happened to the African American community before we can see an end to this. Because when you hold a people down for a very long time, eventually, Malcolm X probably was saying that we need to burn down more buildings. I don't know what you're talking about. Before he like renounced that. So yeah, like it's something that like we just like continually see the same thing over and over and over. It's because the thing that is causing these protests and riots to happen aren't being addressed at the ground level. So that's basically it. I can go more in depth after the video.
Is wartime Tario, or noble lead.
One sec.
Perpetrated by the Proud Boys. They're even offering a reward for some reason. This is wartime Tario, or noble lead. I believe this is the leader.
What?
of the Proud Boys on Parler, saying, "Against the wishes of my attorney, I am here today to admit that I am the person responsible for burning the Black Lives Matter sign," he said of this
When
sign.
is he going to stop?
And I'm not
zooming in?
ashamed of what I did, because I didn't do it out of hate. I did it
There
out
we
of
go.
love for a country that has given my family
Okay.
energy. It was about
I already read
a
it.
racist movement that another city. Now, I think that this is a stupid thing to do.
It was a stupid thing to do. If they're being investigated for hate crimes and him like putting himself out there as the martyr, yeah, probably a pretty stupid thing to do to go to jail for. But you know,
One can assume that if you do anything like this, and this should be a warning sign to all of my listeners, if you do anything like this in the future, you must do it in a safe, secure way.
holy shit, dude. You edit these videos. This is a pre-made video. You can pull the fucking text down. This isn't me cutting it off. This is him. Holy shit, have some respect.
Listeners, if you do anything like this in the future, you must do it in a safe, secure way. Well, you will not be caught, simply.
He's literally just sitting here. Don't commit property damage. LOL. Like you're implicating yourself in like calling for violence right here. He's doing the thing that he's telling people not to do.
This, and this should be a warning sign to all of my listeners. If you do anything like this in the future, you must do it in a safe, secure way. Well, you will not be caught, simply. And
This guy, how fucking cringe. He's actually advocating for violence right now on the internet, publicly. Holy shit. Oh man, I can't fucking believe the absolute brainlessness of this. The absolute like smooth, like there's not a wrinkle. It is a completely frictionless surface. I can't fucking believe it.
And frankly put, if this gentleman was not out here on Parler openly admitting to it, then he would not be caught, most likely. Now, what did the Proud Boys do that's so bad? Well, they took a BLM sign and they burned it.
They stole property off of a church, off of church property. They stole a sign and then burned it, which is an implicit threat, number one. This is what the redneck debate was about. Number one, it's an implicit threat, all right, which is something that we shouldn't be threatening people, right? Even the fucking riots weren't threatening people and saying, oh, we're going to burn down your business if you don't comply and fall in line, right? It was mostly like 99% just like random targeting of buildings, or like if you can even call it targeting. This is going out of your way to find a black church, a historically black church, and doing what people have done for the past couple of 100 years, where they target these institutions because they know that's where black people go. This is their sign. It'd be a shame if someone burned that shit. This is fucking cringe as fuck.
And this is infuriating me. Not because burning private property should be legal.
No one has ever said that. What a fuck! Way to construct that straw man just to break it down, buddy. Wow, what a fucking argument. Oh, you know, property should be legal to burn down. No one has ever fucking said that, you dumb motherfucker. Holy shit. Can you imagine being so fucking like caught in your own fucking echo chamber for so long that you think that that's what people are actually advocating for? I don't know to what extent this guy actually believes what he's saying. But if he actually believes this, imagine how fucking wide that echo chamber is. You could say something that would reverberate for decades.
But because it is legal if you are a member of the left. It is okay as long as you are not white. it is acceptable as long as you.
Wait a second. I thought it was all the Antifa, the white liberal Antifa people that were burning down buildings and stuff, right? So would it not be legal for them? Or is it because they wear black that it's acceptable? You know, there's still some level of blackness to them in that the clothes that they wear is African American. I'm sorry.
You have leftist ideology because the FBI is no longer
what the fuck?
acceptable as long as you have leftist ideology because the FBI is no longer the Federal Bureau of Investigation, but rather, like Pedro L. Gonzalez said on Twitter, an enforcement arm of the anti-white.
The FBI is the enforcement arm of the anti-white, anti-Western consensus that regards burning the American flag as actually a patriotic act of free expression, but burning the BLM flag is an intolerable transgression against the regime. Again, two things. Number one, most of those American flags, I can't speak for all of them because I've never heard of some building owner or anyone saying, oh, they pulled down my American flag and burned it. These are things that people are purchasing themselves, bringing to the protest and burning as a form of protest, which is something that should be legal under the First Amendment and is, as ruled by the Supreme Court decades ago. All right. I mean, you can be mad about it, but just because you're mad about something that our Constitution gives us as a right doesn't mean that we can't do it. Right. And I say I've never burned an American flag, but whereas you take the context of going to a historical black church, again, going to that church, pulling shit off of their building, right, and setting fire to it in front of the church. There is a historical context for how people will target black churches. You know, in the 60s, someone bombed a fucking Sunday school. I might get the shooter's name wrong because there's so many right-wing fucking terrorists. But one of them went into a historically black church and just started opening fire. You know, and last stream I brought up and I'll pull it up again. There's a Wikipedia article of all of the where is it? List of attacks against African American churches. Boom. And we can just scroll down here for a second and see how many over the course of our history that there have been that we know of that have been reported, right? And it's you can see that there is an increase in reported black churches being vandalized or attacked after the year 2000. All right? Like, this is something that happens and happens fairly often, right? As a threat to the African American community. So when we take that context and we see what the Proud Boys did, we can maybe understand why one is a hate crime and one is free speech, right? All right.
Western consensus that regards burning the American flag as actually a patriotic act of free expression, but burning the BLM flag as an intolerable transgression against the regime.
Whose regime? Trump's regime?
Proof is in the fact that the federal government explicitly labels normie right-wingers a more serious terror threat than Islamists or BLM or Antifa. It's not a
okay, I mean, source on that. I don't know if they list them as a more dangerous group, but even if they did, I would defend that because there have been more right-wing terror attacks in the country since our inception as a country than there have been Islamic terror attacks. I think in recent memory, off the top of my head, I can think of 3 terrorist attacks committed by Muslims that have actually done anything, not even that have happened, right? There was 9/11, there was San Bernardino, I think, and the Pulse nightclub. There might be another one that I'm missing, but we can think of a lot. But we can think of a lot of domestic terror attacks from right-wingers. It would be totally reasonable to say that right-wing terrorists and domestic terrorists are more of a threat than Islamic terrorists. And that, I mean, like, think about it. Like, there hasn't been one in our country since like 2015 or 2016. It's just like there's no contest in terms of the propensity for violence right now. Right now, that might change in the future. Maybe there'll be a surge in their ability to come over here. These terrorist groups, but it hasn't happened in quite a while. And also, the amount of people that have like died, if you take out 9/11, which was obviously like the biggest attack on U.S. soil, I think definitely since Pearl Harbor. I don't remember how many people died in Pearl Harbor, but like take that one out, and there's been quite a few more people killed by right-wing terrorists, most often African-American individuals or women, right? I cling to life and isms don't explain. What? I'm sorry, I just don't understand what you're saying.
Conspiracy. It's coming.
Oh, proof is in the fact that the Fed Gov explicitly labels normie right-wingers or more serious terror threat than Islamists or BLM or Antifa. It's not just a conspiracy. It's coming from the dumb mouths of the FBI and David Petraeus to the glee of journos and neocons. I mean, you are thinking in conspiratorial terms. Conservatism has been on the rise in the U.S. for quite a long time. Conservatism is a very powerful force in the U.S. And to say that there's some fucking like leftist fucking ideology that's taken over our government when the Republicans are in charge, when Trump is in charge, is fucking laughable. Okay, so I just like the thin skin that these people have when they are the ones that are in control. When they're the ones that are in control, they can't even say that, you know, we're the ones in control and they're still fucking us over. They're saying that there's some grand conspiracy because they can't critically think enough to say that, oh, well, maybe they might have a point. If even the people on the right are saying that we're the ones fucking killing people or enacting terror, which, hey guys, by the way, you don't have to kill someone in order to be a terrorist. You know that, guys, right? You don't have to. All you have to do is do a form of violence in order to produce terror in a certain group. And like it or not, whether lefties like to admit it or not, property damage is a form of violence. Sorry, it is. And this was violence.
From the dumb mouths of the FBI and David Petraeus to the glee of journos and neocons. This is unfortunately true. The FBI, the CIA, all of them, all of the
CIA is on the side of the leftists. Everyone's against us. Oh my God. Fucking hilarious.
alphabet soup bureaucratic institutions that we're currently up against. The police, this is something that the conservative right needs to stress a little bit more, and that is that the police are not on your side.
Oh my God, he actually believes this. The police, the people that don't face the Proud Boys, they don't do that. They don't face them because they don't see them as a threat. They see the fucking college white kids in Antifa as the threat, so they always face them. Fucking absolutely brain dead and fucking hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
The enemies of Americans and of conservatives. Why? Because they are willing to enforce draconian lockdowns, which have destroyed small businesses. They are willing to enforce...
Who are the ones that won't allow any sort of fucking... Even now, after passing another stimulus bill, aren't helping out small businesses, who have fought against helping out small businesses. That's right. It's the goddamn conservatives, not the fucking lefties.
Draconian measures such as mask mandates, which have obviously, how do I say this, absolutely destroyed the freedoms of Americans. The police, are not on your side. When I was in Washington, D.C. for the MAGA March, I witnessed a cop not arguing for the right of the protesters to protest, and by the protesters I mean the pro-Trump people, but rather he was arguing with the pro-Trump protesters.
What was the context?
Well, because, simply put, he was a leftist himself. But he was a...
If the right-wingers are being openly antagonistic, then yeah, the cop would have to tell them to fucking stop, right? If there was ever a good cop to like towards the leftists, then he would be like actively engaging in like, you know, suppression of right-wing voices. But most oftentimes you'll see cops actively like helping the right-wingers in almost every situation. I mean, look, I don't know, guys, if you guys have ever watched Sondsol on YouTube. You guys need to go and watch his breakdown of the Charlottesville riots and fully understand how the right-wingers got away with so much of the violence there. I highly encourage you guys to watch that.
Cop! David, how can a cop... Look, just like anything else, it's a job. These people have political beliefs of their own. They're self-hating. Not all cops are bad people, but when you go into these cities that have been infected by third world citizens...
Oh, well, I was going to say something, but then he said something else cringe. Yeah, no, and once again, we need to point out the absolute fragility of the right when they're talking about the cops aren't on our side. When what else are the cops supposed to do? Like, I don't think I'm a ACAB person. All cops are bastards. I'm not that kind of person. I don't think. I think that there's plenty of cops that need to actually work towards doing some sort of police reform, but are in a system where they don't feel that they're able to, and they should be condemned for that in their own right. But I don't think that they're like inherently bad people. However, to sit here and say that because Trump lost the election, and you know, like the right going into like coming from all over the goddamn country to come into Washington D.C. to protest against a legal election that has had no proof brought up in court that is in any way verifiable, that says that there was voter fraud or any grand conspiracy. At that point, you have to like do some self-reflection is all I'm saying, right? Like, you have to understand that if you're going to be the person that is mauling that cops aren't helping you just like overturn a democratically held election, then maybe you should like do some self-reflection and see if like you actually believe in being an American. And if I'm an American, I believe in democracy, I believe in freedom, I believe in liberty, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you think that you can just like lose an election and then use armed police to overturn that, then you're not for democracy. I dare say you might be for fascism. That's not to say that all conservatives are fascist, and I can't believe that I have to say this because people overuse the term so much, but that would be an actual fascist belief that, oh, I'm sorry, did I lose that election? Or did you lose that election, little man? And then storm in there with fucking jackbooted thugs, all right? That's what this guy wants. But unfortunately, that's not how democracy works, so...
bad people. But when you go into these cities that have been infected by third world citizens, well, that will correlate into the police force.
Racist.
We are facing an enemy that can...
and let me expound on that a little bit. Number one, I don't think Washington, D.C. has been infected with third world people. Fucking source on that one, number one. All right. Number two, to say that those people have infected. And again, you have to look at the fucking language that he's using. Like, it's really gross to think of another human being as infecting a city. All right. And to think that everyone, all these brownos from fucking Uganda are coming into my country and they're Marxists, when I don't think that there's, very likely there's very few Marxists in Uganda, right? Or in any third world country. This is this is purely just like, this is actual racism. And like, I want to go through this guy's like video history. Maybe I'll do a Sondsol type video where I go through his videos and I point out all of the points of fascism that he ticks off. You know, Umberto Eco, he's a Italian novelist who grew up in fascist Italy, who has come up with 14 points that you can see in most fascist countries or political parties, right? And you can see that like fascism is one of these things that's very hard to define. Why? Because it's inherently like contradictory and really like weasel-minded type of ideology or ideologies, right? But they usually share some characteristics, and those 14 points usually fit these places, right? You're freaking hungry? Well, go and eat yourself some like a grilled cheese or something. It's late.
Controls.
But to what I was going to say, yeah, there's no coherent framework for fascism, but you can look at some things and see some similarities. And this kid, he's ticking off many in just this video. And if it weren't so late, I would go through all of those right now with you guys. But claiming that people are infecting your city because they're from the third world is, on its face, very racist, right? It holds the fear of the other because you're saying that they're infecting your city. You have to look at the language that these people use, and it's ultimately dehumanizing, and it is like trying to find an outgroup to blame for the problems that you're facing, instead of actually looking at the problems that you're facing and finding ways to address them. Just saying, oh, it's those third world, gross, beastly, infecting our city. Like, how dare they? Yeah, this guy's most likely fascist or fascist leaning, exhibiting fascist tendencies. I almost guarantee you this guy watches fucking Nick Fuentes because he's a Zoomer and he thinks that, the right or the brown people are infecting our cities,
That will correlate into the police force. We are facing an enemy that controls all institutions. Every single one of them.
The conservatives control the Senate and the executive branch and the Supreme Court and many, many, many seats in district courts. This is just like absolutely, like, verifiably not true. This guy's just a dumb fuck, and he's malding because he is not getting what he wants. And to speak on that a little bit, this is the kind of thing that leads to like I talked about this at the beginning of the stream, stochastic terrorism, which is there's terrorism, which is like, you're organizing and you're going through and like trying to cause as much mayhem as possible to get your political beliefs through. Stochastic terrorism is where you signal to other people that something needs to be done. Someone needs to do something about this, but never saying what. But you're meanwhile like signaling that all these things are happening that are fundamentally destroying our society, and they're gonna be raping our women, and white identity is being thrown out the window, and they're coming for us next, and someone has to do something. You're implicitly, and this guy like pretty much explicitly said that he wants there to be violence, right? When you do that sort of thing, while you might not be doing the violence, you're signaling to other people that violence needs to be done. And when you're signaling to other people that violence needs to be done, and you have a platform like this guy does, then if one of your viewers were to take up that mantle and do that violence, whether they go and shoot up a historically black church or do some other form of act of terror, you have some amount of plausible deniability. You can say, well, that's disgusting. How? I can't believe he would do that. What? He's one of my viewers? No. I would never advocate for violence. And this is what happened with the Christchurch shooter when he listed Lauren Southern and other right-wing like YouTube stars in his manifesto saying that they're coming to replace us. This kid actually believes in the Great Replacement, which is fucking hilarious, because that just means that you literally have no fucking clue how immigration works, number one, or how, birth rates or anything else works. So yeah, like this kid is like really gross, and he's I mean, you don't even have to know if you're a stochastic terrorist, by the way. Sargon of Akkad, I don't think he is like someone that wants there to be violence, but the way that he signals to people, I think he's a stochastic terrorist. In the same way that Trump is 1,000% a stochastic terrorist. There are people that have tried to commit violence or have committed violence on his behalf. Take the person that was like mailing people bombs earlier this year during COVID, or it might have been late last year. I can't remember. There's been so many news stories. Or you can look at the guy that drove up to the Michigan vote counting area with a fucking arsenal of guns in his truck that had a bunch of QAnon shit all over the back, that got arrested, thank God, before he did anything. Right? Does the left and the right think the same way? Absolutely not. There's a fundamental difference in the way that the left and the right think about things. Now, that's not to say that some people on the left aren't fucking cringe with the way that they want revolution and shit, but but when it comes to the right, especially the further right you go, there's a lot, and there's conspiracism on the left as well. And I'll openly admit that. But the further right you go, the more conspiratorial you have to get, because you have to believe in so many things and so many layers of deception in order for your worldview to be to work. In order for you to justify the reality that you perceive, you have to jump through a lot of hoops. And I'm going to talk more about this in the coming weeks, because I think that we're getting to a very, very dangerous point with this kind of rhetoric that this dumb motherfucker is putting out there, and the language that Trump is putting out there, the fact that he was thinking of using martial law to redo the election. Like, we're getting to a point where we need to talk about these things and have people like reach out to friends that they think are like getting a little bit like weird online, Like it's something that we have to start talking about increasingly. People have talked about stochastic terrorism before, but this is something that we need to bring to the forefront of the conversation, I think.
Don't kid yourself otherwise. In the past, some people said, well, actually, I think that the left does control a lot of the institutions, such as academia and Hollywood. But the military and the police are conservative. That's not true.
The military isn't conservative anymore. They fucking hate Trump. He's done a lot of really shitty things to the military. All the conservatives will think, because they love the military, that the military is conservative. But and they're not. Don't take me for saying that they're leftist by any means. But to say that the military would back Trump, that's fucking absolutely ridiculous. Yeah.
True. That's untrue. Frankly, that's untrue. They are leftist. Perhaps the Marines is more conservative than most, but at most, that is all we have. We have lost the institutions. There are methods to win them back, and that'll be a conversation for another time. But let this be a warning to you that the police, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, military intelligence, all of them are against you, not for you. They don't care about you. They don't care about Americans. They are the educated suburban white elites. That is the truth. And I guess they're multicultural now.
Well, he almost had it right. These institutions don't care about you. I mean, if our institutions cared about us, we wouldn't be getting a $600 check and just like kicking the can down the road on the eviction crisis that's looming over this country. But he's putting all the blame on like leftism, and they're coming after conservatives. No, they don't give a fuck about anyone. It doesn't matter about your political ideology. They don't give a fuck about you, and they don't give a fuck about me. They don't give a fuck about anyone in my chat. Why? Because they are out to make money. So, what do you think of the recent naval troop movement? I'll have to look into that. I don't know anything about that.
Are multiracial now. The old guard is dead, in with the new guard who wants to see the destruction of America. These FBI agents are educated. They go to college.
You can simultaneously want America to be reformed and not want the destruction of America. I don't want the destruction of America. And most leftists might say that they want it, but like, trust me, they once it comes down to it, they don't. And that's just reality, right? But when we look at what this guy's saying, they want to destroy America. Why? I wonder who the leftists are. Who are those in charge?
Colleges. They are indoctrinated just like the radical liberals you see forming the autonomous zones in
Imagine
Oregon.
saying
they
radical
are the
liberal.
problem, not the solution. Don't kid yourself. Stop living in fantasy world. They are going after people for burning down a plastic sign after months and months of literal cities
context is
being
everything.
burned down. The FBI sent more investigators into the Jussie Smollett case than they did to...
Wait, what the fuck did he just say? Also, Beastiemon, if you join the Discord and shoot me a link in DMs, I'll look into it.
Sent more investigators into the Jussie Smollett case than they...
Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett. What the fuck is that fucking pronunciation?
They did to ensure the integrity of our elections. The FBI sent more investigators into the Bubba... What's that idiotic black man who...
Okay, so the NASCAR investigation was 1,000% legitimate. That was a fucking weird thing. Luckily, the investigation that went into it was like completely like found to be not a hate crime. It was just like a really fucking weird coincidence. But you know. Or you can whisper it to me, Beastiemon. But yeah, this is fucking... People are saying that Trump will order a re-election in January 5th. There's literally no way that he can do that. There's no legal way or constitutionally, like, no constitutional argument he could make for that. Like, oh, hey, Tory News, how's it going, buddy? Yeah, no, we're getting up there.
Drove NASCAR, who thought there was a noose in his garage. The FBI...
No, it wasn't thought there was a noose in his garage. What the fuck is he saying? Once they found out where it came from and that it had been there for a while, they dropped the investigation, and everyone in NASCAR was like, yeah, no, this is totally reasonable. Who the fuck would do that to someone that's in our ranks, right? One of our racing bros. I don't know NASCAR culture, but this was a completely reasonable thing. Since he's the only black guy in NASCAR right now, he spoke out against racism, and then there was a noose in his fucking garage. Completely reasonable.
FBI sent investigators, but of course the FBI is incapable of defending the vote. And as the Georgia election gets stolen from us, I want you to remember that there is an organization that is capable, that has the authority to stop this from happening. But of course, why would they do that when they're on the side of Stacey?
How would they do that legally? How would they do that? Rewind. Sorry, I was a little bit distracted by that donation, which, by the way, thank you, Touring News. I super appreciate that. But the FBI didn't defend the vote. The fucking Department of Justice investigated any claims that were like sent their way, right? Barr had people investigate this, and they couldn't find anything. Why? Because fucking there's nothing there. There's nothing there. If there was something there, they would have brought it to fucking court, but they haven't. Why? Oh, Twitch Prime, guys. Twitch Prime. Yeah. Hey, guys, by the way, if you guys sub to me, it helps me out quite a lot. It helps me out quite a lot because I'm trying to make this something that I can do as at least like a part-time type job where I can work and like actually do enough research so that I can feel confident talking on more subjects. There are some that I feel very confident on, some that I feel not as confident on. But people donating or subbing, using their Twitch Prime subscriptions helps me out a hell of a lot. Dude, I'm a Russian. I seem to know more about American systems than this piece of shit. Yeah, no, this guy is absolutely a piece of shit. This guy's garbage. And honestly, after the fucking call to violence that he had, where are we at right now? 6:55. This fucking call to violence he has at the beginning.
This should be a warning sign to all of my listeners. If you do anything like this in the future, you must do it in a safe, secure way. Well, you will not be caught, simply. And
he wants people to do violence so that they don't get caught. Like he literally said that. You know. But if someone were to call him on it, he'd be like, no, I literally said, there's a disclaimer on my thing that says, no, I don't want there to be violence. But there's a little, guys, I don't know if you guys noticed down here, but right here, he had a little LOL. Report his channel. We don't brigade, partly because it's TOS, but, you know. Plausible deniability is the right's biggest tool. Yep, like I just said about stochastic terrorism, like that's their bread and butter.
Gets stolen from us. I want you to remember that there is an organization that is capable, that has the authority to stop this from happening.
This literally is not something that the FBI can do, by the way. This kid has no idea how the legal system works.
But of course, why would they do that when they're on the side of Stacey Abrams?
I don't know what that means. But yeah, like this kid, like woe be to us as a country if this kid ever like actually gets into politics, right? Like woe be to us, because someone with this fundamental lack of knowledge of how our systems work, or like getting in there and then trying to like force through actions that are completely illegal. I mean, number one, like he'll go to prison for it, but it could cause him real damage.
And the Democrats. Why would they do that when they are on the side of the globalists? They hate you. They think white people are more of a threat than radical terrorists. Islamic terrorists are leftist terrorists. And they don't care about the problems of the working class.
They hate working men.
Or of the everyday Americans. For months. Yep. Our cities have been burnt down. They have done nothing.
Again, our cities have been burnt down. Which one? Which one has been burnt down? Name a city that's been burnt down. Name one. It literally doesn't make any sense to say that our cities have been burnt down when not a single one has. There's been property damage. I will admit there has been buildings that have been burnt down, but the entire city has not been burnt down. It's been very localized. It's absolutely fucking crazy. Like you honestly have to be in like such a huge echo chamber for you to believe these things. This video scares you. I mean, this is scary. I mean, it's funny because he's super fucking stupid and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. He's literally just repeating Nazi talking points, but and so like he's not that politically efficacious. But at the same time, this is scary that there are people in the world that believe this, in our country that believe this, and would use whatever political means that they could to stamp out any civil rights protest or any fight for, equality that there is. Chicago burnt down in 1871. True. Absolutely devastated by a Target being ransacked. Oh no, Target, not Target.
Nothing. They have not moved a muscle against Antifa. Reports have come out saying that, well, right-wingers are more of a terroristic threat than people that are executing.
Unironically, right-wingers are much more of a threat to this country, to our democracy, and to the lives of our citizens than any leftist is right now.
Wingers are more of a terroristic threat than people that are executing Trumpers on the streets.
What? 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 Oh no. It's like American History X, except reverse. I don't like it when reversed. I don't like it when black people do mean thing to white people, and also they're killing us. Oh God, the cat's like noodling his way through. Hello, everyone. Say hi to Han. Hey, big boy. I love you, but you can't be on top of the table right now, baby. Oh, he's purring. There you go. All right, we gotta finish this video. This is so much fucking cringe.
I made a video about this, of course.
Oh, did he?
When it happened in Oregon, a pro-Trump protester was killed, shot 7 times, and then it happened again in Colorado. First time it was in Portland.
Wait. In Colorado, that was literally self-defense. It wasn't even a leftist. It wasn't an execution. He was a fucking bodyguard for a news organization, and the dude came up to them and started like fucking pepper spraying them. So the dude used his gun in self-defense. I'm sorry, are we not supposed to use firearms for self-defense? I felt like this is the kind of kid that would believe in the Second Amendment. Like that is one of the like most like black and white cut and dry situations of like instances of a fucking self-defense that there is. If someone comes up to you and starts assaulting you, and yes, hey guys, pepper spray is assault, and it's fucking really painful, right? And if you don't know what that person is going to do to you after you're blinded by pepper spray, using a gun on that person 9 times out of 10 is a very reasonable thing to do. And now to the Portland one, I didn't look into that one too much because there were so many contradictory fucking accounts of what was going on there. I will not take a stance on it. I don't know what the fuck happened. There's just like way too many conflicting things being said. And the one video that I was able to find of the incident was like from like 40 yards away and not actually even like, the camera wasn't even aimed at the thing, so I can't speak on that. But the one in Colorado where the guy was like a bodyguard, like that dude 100% was self-defense.
And I believe didn't happen in Colorado and nothing was said, and then it happened in North Carolina. That's one you haven't even heard of.
Yeah, I haven't heard of that one. It probably wasn't an execution. It was probably very, very cut and dry self-defense as well.
Well, it is what it is, right? It is what it is, you know? We are subjugated to all scrutiny. We are forced to obey and listen. And you better not resist. You better not march. You better not.
Oh my God!
Down a Violinist flag, which promotes anti-whiteness.
A what?
Burn down a Violinist flag, which promotes...
I gotta slow it down. We gotta slow it down a little bit. Sorry, I had it on 1.25 because he was talking too fucking slow. But what the fuck, Violinist? I assume he means Biden-Leninist.
Promotes not burn down a Violinist flag.
What the
which
fuck?
Promotes anti-whiteness, which promotes the destruction.
Hey guys, where do I get myself a Violinist flag? I ain't never seen one before. A Violinist flag. Oh God, new emote, a fucking Violinist flag.
Of Western civilization, the destruction of the nuclear family. You better not be against that, or else the FBI will investigate you. And don't be an idiot either. Why would this guy say, oh, it was me? It's so stupid. These people aren't in it to win. The Proud Boys are not, they're not our guys either. Anyways, folks, I'm David with the DC Perspective. Thank you for watching this video. I'm glad to be back. It feels good doing this.
It feels good to be doing this. Such a fucking joker fucking motherfucker. Holy shit. Feels good to be doing this. I'm glad to be back, everybody. Let me tell you. When they're out in the street and cutting down Trumpists in the street, and they're trying to enact anarchy. What are we to do?
Did I ever tell you
Shit, scare the shit.
how many of those Antifa super soldiers I have captive in my basement? Did I ever tell you that? I don't think I did.
Fuck. All right.